Alright, we're going to now solve a geometric word problem, and we're going to model the situation with a mathematical model. So we're going to change it from words to math symbols, and then we're going to solve it. The length of a rectangle is 10 inches shorter than 3 times the width. If the perimeter is 76 inches, what are the dimensions of the rectangle? Okay, so I'm going to draw a rectangle. The length, the length is 10 inches shorter than 3 times. Okay, so I'm not necessarily going to draw it to scale, but I'm just going to get a rectangle on my paper. So here we go with the rectangle. I'm going to call this the length, and I'm going to call this the width. All right, and we know that the perimeter is adding all that together. Okay, so here we go. The length of a rectangle is 10 inches shorter than 3 times the width. So I'm going to take this first sentence and I'm going to turn it into math symbols, right? You've done this since Algebra 1. So the length is, now what does that mean we do? We're going to say L equals, L equals, the length is, there's the is, that's equals, okay? 10 inches shorter. Now, which is it going to be? 10 minus 3W? Or is it going to be 3W minus 10? I'm saying that, I'm putting in both of those out there because I want you to think about when you see something shorter than, all right, 10 inches shorter than 3 times the width. So there's the 3 times the width right there. So 10 inches shorter than something, well, doesn't the something have to be there first so that we can then take the 10 inches from it? So indeed it does, and so what I'd like to do is I'd like you to think about that. Convince yourself that it has to be 3W minus 10. You can't just translate this like this. You can't just see the words and put down the symbols as the words show up. You can't do it that way. Not all the time. So please think about what are the words saying, you know. So 10 less than 3 times the width. There's what the length is. Okay? Now, it says the perimeter is 76 inches. Well, okay, well, how do I get the perimeter? I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. P equals 76. There's that information. All right, so how do I get perimeter? Well, I know that the perimeter is L plus W plus L. I'm going to have to remember a formula, plus W, and that's going to give me a perimeter, right? Now, I just happen to see that these are like terms, right? We just talked about in the previous video like terms. Be on the lookout for like terms, right? So this is 2L plus 2W, and that's equal to P. All right, so let's do this. I have L, W, and P, but I already know that L is 3W minus 10. Well, wouldn't that help me? We'll see that it's absolutely mandatory. Wouldn't that help me if I could take out the L and put in what it's equal to? Right? Put in what it's equal to. So I have 2 times 3W minus 10. That's plus 2W. And that's got to equal, it has to equal 76 inches. So let's take a look at this. I started out with 3 different variables, L, W, and P. Now, you know also from your Algebra 1 studies that if I have 3 different variables, I'm going to need 3 equations if I'm going to solve, right, for 3 different variables. So they're not requiring me to have 3 equations in this because they're giving me enough information to substitute. So that's what we're doing. We're substituting the 76 for the P, so that takes care of a variable. And I'm substituting 3W minus 10 for the L's. So I get rid of the P, I get rid of the L's, and then I'm left with all W's. Look at this. All I see is W's and numbers. And now, with one variable, I can solve it with one equation. One variable, one equation. 2 variables, I must use 2 equations. 3 variables, 3 equations. So, in a sense, I've used 2 equations to solve the 2 variables, but we have it down to 1 right now, so we'll look at that. Let's go ahead and solve this one for W. That just means get W alone, everything else on the other side. Here we go. 2 times 3 means get what is the value of the variable W. So here you go, 6W minus 20 plus 2W has to be the 76. All right, do we see any like terms? Absolutely. Remember, be on the lookout for like terms. So I see like terms here and here. So I'm going to add them together. Do I need to go minus 6w minus 6w? No, I just combine them. I don't do something to both sides of the equals or anything. I just combine the like terms there, which would be 8w minus 20 is 76. Now we know to add 20 to both sides, and I get 8w is equal to, what, 96? Whoa, I wrote an 8-0. This is 8w. Okay, and then what am I going to do? I'm going to divide by 8. Divide by 8. Grab your calculator, or if you happen to know, 96 divided by 8, w is going to be a 12. Okay, so let's go back to our picture or to our equation, wherever you want to. If you want to go ahead and fill in the picture, then this is going to be a 12, right? And we can find the other variable several ways. I can just go back to this point right here, right? Go back to that point right there, and let's just put in the 12 for the w, right? Find out what the L is. So I have 3 times 12. That's 36 minus 10. That must be that L is 26. We could also do this. We know that the whole thing has to be 76, so we could say 76 take away 12 twice, right? Oops, that's a 26. Okay, so that's equal to 52. Well, if I divide 52 by 2, in other words, there's 52 inches, 52 inches to split between the two lengths, and so that gives me 26 for each of those lengths. So the dimensions, this is a 12 by 26 rectangle. So that's me answering the question fully. Okey-doke. Thanks for listening.